No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Welcome to the Purple Play Pursuit. We are here off the heels of UFC 319 in Chicago. Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. We have a new champ. We have a whole fight card to break down. As you can see from my number next to my name, I have won money. And not only did I win money, I put myself in an absolutely unlosable situation. I'll tell you how that happened. I'll tell you how it all broke down. And we'll talk about a fight night with, a UFC pay-per-view card with a lot of learnings. If you didn't learn watching this card, you weren't paying attention. And if you didn't pay attention, we can fill you in. We'll tell you everything there was to learn about UFC 319, how we're going to implement this stuff moving forward, and how it's going to influence our betting strategy. Alex, how's it going? How'd you like the card?
Terrific, fantastic card. But as you can see, ladies and gents, we're a man down. Danny Rogan over here only shows up for numbered cards. They have to be in the nation of the US of A. They have to be big fights. He's not just showing up for any old card nowadays. He's only coming to the big ones. He's only coming to the ones with a number next to it. And it's fine. It's written into his contract. Danny's a huge star. We need to respect that. We need to respect his distance and respect his boundaries. And just like that, he's gone like a thief in the night.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I really thought at the end of the last episode, if you guys go back and watch, you can see that actually pretty much towards the early middle part of the episode, Dan starts getting extremely annoyed. And that carries through all the way till the end. You have to really know Dan to know this. But if you watch the show long enough, you know Dan. And you can go back and watch that episode. You can see how annoyed he was getting over the course of the episode. So I think that it went 2.5 hours long. Maybe it was beyond his expectation, but I think that's a foolish expectation because not only did we have to catch up on his absence, not only did we have to catch him up on his absence, but we also had to recap the previous week's card. We also had to do a 14-fight breakdown. So really, it's like, half an hour for show and tell, recap, half an hour for the previous card, and then an hour and a half for a 14-fight card. That's pretty timely. So I feel maybe he was a little short-sighted in getting so annoyed and not just being like, I'm here having fun with my boys. I like doing the show because it's fun, not because of any other reason. And I like doing the show because I have something in me that I need to get out to you folks, whether it be about the state of the UFC or the picks that you need to make this week. And if I haven't, listen, look, I make my own mistakes. I drink beers. I throw money out there on stupid ass shit. But in terms of what I tell you on this card, if I've not made you money, if I've not proven that I can hit unbelievable parlays that none of the people in your life have ever hit, I don't know what I'm doing here. But that's what this is for. It's documented proof of the highs, the lows, the risks we take, and the journey we're on, which is the perfect parlay pursuit, pursuing the perfect parlay. Mr. Wipeout, you guys are the goats of this game. Thank you very much, Mr. Wipeout. I'm going to shout out a couple shows I like to consider sister shows. I personally love Stat Diggers. I usually will watch that episode later in the week at work. And I feel they're cut from the same cloth, those guys. So go in and make sure you shout out Mr. Wipeout, MMA Lock of the Night, of course. Luke, the Parleezy Wizard. Mr. Wipeout, you're the man. Mr. Wipeout 2008. I love this. I like to believe with that name, you were a part of the 2008 crash housing crisis, and you just wiped people out. You took all the money, and you said, I'm Mr. Wipeout. 2008 was a good year. So
the way I see it is he likes the TV show Wipeout and was born in 2008.
Yeah. Or Mr. Wipeout, like he's a surfer guy, born in 2008.
There you go.
Which is so self-deprecating and funny compared to most surfers who are always like talking about who's a squid and who's a local. It's like being like, I'm Mr. Wipeout. It's like, that's funny. That's cool. You're not a hardo surfer. Like, respect. And he's probably really good, right? It's like the guy with the helmet at the skate park, and he's just ripping. And it's like, yeah, you guys, like, oh, you're not wearing a helmet? That's cool. You're not even as good as me. I'm wearing a helmet. But anyway. So we got a lot to talk about. I really want to meticulously dissect this card from both showing you guys what went right and what went wrong for my bets, and also analyzing the fights because there was so much to learn. So first fight of the night, it's the Ultimate Fighter season finale. I did watch half this season. I knew who both these guys were. Morales first pick on Team Sun and Idris, definitely a guy who you would think, just based on his country of origin, his dedication, and what he's shown on the show in terms of how he prepares and how hard he works and where his mind's at, you would have thought has what it takes to go all the way. I didn't know his wrestling was this bad. I didn't know that he was going to be open to submission this much. I should have really not thought about Morales as a Chael Sonnen guy and really recognized, oh, wait, this is a Team Alpha Male guy who's been in the UFC before. Like, he's definitely the pick. And the value he had, I'll admit, had I watched the rest of the episodes and gotten to the end of the season of The Ultimate Fighter, I probably would have been on the side of Morales. And I did, once I kind of saw him in the cage and saw him walk out with Uriah and kind of put the piece together of who this guy was and remembered, I threw a little sprinkle on Morales, but I did by decision. So 20 for $170. And that was kind of my little hedge against the parlays I had Idris in. But both of them lost. So no worries there. A lot of things went down there. In hindsight, sprinkled Idris on these parlays at the beginning, not probably really realizing how many I was putting them on, but was happy that I had a lot of parlays without him. So about that fight, Alex.
Yeah, I was super surprised. I was definitely surprised that Joseph Morales won. I thought Idris had a more well-rounded game than I guess he did, and Morales was just the game vet in there. He's seen these bright lights before. He's fought against some tough competition in the UFC to even get bounced out in the first place. I think he lost to Davison Figueiredo in his first fight in the UFC. So, he's fought a guy who was a UFC champion and knows what that caliber of fighter is and where he needs to be, where Idris never really saw that until he saw somebody like a veteran, game, composed Joseph Morales. Great fight.
So after that, Karine Silva, Dion Barbosa. I picked Barbosa on the show. Be completely honest with you guys, I thought that Barbosa won. I thought it was a robbery, but what's interesting is I put Barbosa on all these parlays that had Idris, and then I had Silva on a couple that didn't, because towards later in the week, I was like, you're crazy. Like, Silva's probably going to win. So I switched my pick a little bit. But ultimately, nothing that I won with had Silva on it for one reason or another. Due to Asakura, but we'll get to that later. But at the end of it, I was kind of cackling because I was like, wow, like, they really robbed her for no reason. I thought she won round 1 and also round 3. I don't know, but people forget. What I did think is that it was 1-1 going into round 3, because at the end of the day, Rogan kind of convinced a lot of the public by saying, and that's 2 rounds for Silva, for Barbosa. But I was like, maybe not, Joe. She had her back at one point in the beginning of the round and took her down and was like controlling her for the first 2 minutes of the fight. So maybe not. I don't know why you think it's 2 rounds. They don't score the fight. You know what I mean? Unless it's completely kind of obvious, but it was not as cut and dry. And Joe says things very matter-of-factly. Kind of a boring fight. We can move on. But I do want to note, Dan's not on the show today, and he no-showed in the group chat. I texted in the group chat very early in the day. I'll go back. Let's see. I sent a text at noon, 12 p.m. on the dot. 7 works for me. Does it work for you, Dan? And then I wait 6 hours, 6:15. I go, 7? Nothing from Dan. So unless he has a really good excuse for no call, no showing, I'm proposing a 4-week suspension if he ever decides to come back. I'm going to go completely cold. I'm not going to mention the show again to him. He tells me he wants back. Unless he tells me, hey, I had to take my wife to the hospital, something like that, I'll even accept my dog had to go to the vet. But if it's nothing short of that, I'll say, hey, that's great. We'll see you in a month, because that was a little bit uncalled for. So, Dan, you should be happy he's not on the show, because he came back, he went in the open bet sheet, and I took a look at Dan's open bet sheet. The fights that he didn't lose betting on Barbosa in parlays, he lost on Chase Hooper. So 1, 2, 3, 4 fights into the night, every single bet Dan posted in the open bet sheet was completely fucking dead. And that to me is the biggest slap in the face because he's not learning. He's not understanding what a parlay pillar is. A parlay pillar doesn't mean you put them in every single parlay. A parlay pillar means you put them in a good amount of parlays, but you're diversifying and you're building these kind of like little towers that some will fall or hopefully none fall. But like at the end of the day, you want to kind of diversify your portfolio a bit on the picks that you like, so that you have options and that you can even hedge and you're not so reliant on so many different people. I mean, he had Silva across the board. He had Jakar Close across the board in a close fight. He had Hooper across the board. And then he diversifies with Godinez and Andrade. And he puts Andrade on some and Godinez on some. And it's like, dude, you're doing 12 fight parlays a lot of the time. It's like doing little dots here and there don't work when you have so much to get through. You're not getting it. He's not a mathematician. He's not seeing the actuarial science behind all this. And it's embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean,
let's say Hooper wins. Hooper wins, and then inevitably, half of his parlays are losing in the very next fight. So then the ones that he goes forward with, he's got Lord across the board, Asakura across the board, and then Pico across the board. So it's like you're not getting it.
Yeah, I mean, I had Barbosa too. Terrible fight from him. He had Jakar Close looking like Canelo Alvarez out there. Like Jakar Close was piecing him up on the feet with the hands. Edson Barbosa was looking for takedowns the whole time. Not really looking for takedowns, looking to hold him up against the cage. He was doing his best Marvin Vettori impression. Didn't love what I saw from Barbosa. I'll be fading him in the future. I thought Jakar Close was a guy he could get the edge on. Now I'm just waiting for Joe Selecki to come out of retirement and beat up Edson Barbosa.
Jakar Close was a pick that at slight dog odds against a guy like Edson, it made you a little uncomfortable because none of us want to believe. We hate Jakar Close for pulling out when he got pushed against Jeremy Stevens. We hate Jakar Close for knocking out Joe Selecki and saying, I wish I got a couple more shots off on him. You have to put all that to the side. And
we hate Jakar Close for ruining Courtney Casey's career.
The problem is it's like picking against Nate Diaz or Tony Ferguson or one of these cool guys. It's like Edson Barbosa, Jose Aldo. These are cool guys. You want to be the cool guy in the room. That's like, people don't know, man. He knocked out Terry. People forget, man. He knocked out Terry Edom with a kick and killed him. Like, we want to be the guy that goes, this Edson Barbosa should be a huge favorite. And when they first got in there, the way Edson looked and the way Jakar Close looked, how uncomfortable could you have been betting on Jakar Close? He looked like a doughboy. Jakar Close looks like Terrence Howard. He's in there. He's in there talking about fucking drones and fucking sacred geometry. He's like, he looks like Terrence Howard in there, and he doesn't. And Edson Barbosa looks like a god. I would cut my fucking pinky off to look like Edson Barbosa. So it makes you uncomfortable. But I don't know. I mean, at a certain age, it's just you got to go with Father Time. And that's the reason that you can say comfortably, I'm fading Tony Ferguson, I'm fading Nate Diaz, I'm fading Edson Barbosa. It's just Father Time, guys.
Are you going to fade Ferguson against Salt Poppy?
No. I don't know that I'll be legally allowed to bet on it on any reputable sports book. So something tells me it's going to be kind of like a something else thing. I don't know. But during this fight, Edson Barbosa versus Jakar Close, I had one of the moments that I've had since I was in 6th grade of I say something that I see, and then the commentary says it 3 seconds later. But it wasn't like, oh, Jakar Close is from Michigan, and then Joe goes, or John goes, the Michigan native. It wasn't like that. It was like, man, because of the damage Jakar Close has done to Edson Barbosa's leg with those kicks, Edson is having a much harder time getting on and off that foot because of the pain and because of the nerve damage and all that. So when Jakar Close throws the left hand and then follows up with the right, it is corralling Edson, forcing him to shift his weight and then preventing him from, in time that he's used to, being able to get that foot up to move out of the way. And Jakar is landing that right hand all fucking day. I'm like, if he just fucking throws straight rights, right hooks, and just overhand rights, he will fucking knock this guy out. I'm like telling my wife, who's on her phone looking at fucking Instagram. I'm like, yo, his right hand. And then DC's like, the right can't miss. The right can't miss from Jakar Close. He needs to throw that right hand. I'm like, you hear this? I'm like, that was specific. So, what's up, Alex Maestro? What up, boys? We're just in here talking shit on Dan about the bad picks he gave last week and the bets that he lost. I won a lot of money. I really could have won a lot more, but I have a family, and the feeling that I hate the most is waking up on Sunday having lost money. So I was able to take hedge positions to ensure that I was not going to lose, but in fact win. Probably could have doubled my winnings, but took positions out, and also probably could have tripled my winnings if I didn't also just like get a wild. Once I preserved break even, then I start going, well, hey, let's throw $50 on the guy who fought the Hamzat's training partner. What's his name? Nolan. Let's throw $90 on Nolan. I threw 70 on Nolan money line, 70 to win 500, and 20 to win 300. So a total of 90 to win $800 if he knocked him out, and 500 if he just won. And boy, was I feeling good about that bet in that first round, man. Oh my gosh. I was like, let's fucking go, Nolan. Like, I have no problem with the fight, no problem with losing the money, no problem with anything. But boy, was I feeling like the smartest guy in the fucking world. Because then I would have been like up $800. I was already at break even. I would have been like up $800 with parlays still active. Then that's when I really get rolling. So I was thinking about my betting style. And my betting style is essentially this is like the new evolution of me, Alex. So you don't even really know this yet. But my new style is kind of like set up a little 3-leg parlay early in the night on the first 3 or 4 fights of the night. And let that be $50 to pay back $400 or something close to what you have out total on the night. So generally I'll put out 400, on a low night, 200 with like a $300 leaf. I call a leaf. That's like when you lift the table up and you make the table bigger. It's like I have my initial bets that I put out, and then I have in my mind what more I'm going to put out throughout the night to either hedge. Actually, hedges are a separate thing. Hedges, I'll overdraft my bank account to hedge. I don't care about that. But I'm saying like I'll have an amount I'm willing to lose, and then knowing I'm going to want to bet more. So like I half that basically. So I would say typical night, 200 out, 200 to 300 out, and then a $200 to $300 leaf. So my point, I guess, in all this is try my best to win back everything that I bet in the first few fights so that I have that amount sitting and I go, word, if I don't bet this, I'm already at break even, but now I can bet this and ensure profitability in certain ways or just make some live decisions. Yeah.
But now I can bet this.
So the goal for me is, but it's not just about breaking even at the end of the night. That's not the goal. My goal is be at break even before the main card starts, so that way I can enjoy the main card, right? And then from there, it's all about putting myself in positions to win big, right? While ensuring I don't lose. Meaning, like, I'm not hunting for like little wins here and there. I'm saying like, okay, I got this parlay that pays $4,000. And I'm at break even. So how do I strategically build things against this to ensure that like I'm kind of covered in the best possible way? So I take the best of what, like when I have a parlay, I'll take the best of what's left and go, these are the ones I'm still pretty confident on. This one I'm not. So I'm going to switch that one out. So almost like I'm building in a hedge that is greater than the sum of its parts, because if the two that I'm confident on win and I get to this one and this guy loses, it's not just a bet on him, it's the parlay prior to. So I'm taking like it, and that's what I did this weekend. What up, Carrie? Hope you enjoyed the card. We had some really good fights we're breaking down. We just finished talking about Jakar Close.
Luke, when I unretire from gambling, I'll make sure that I utilize your strategy of trying to win a lot of money and making sure I don't lose.
It's a great strategy. It's a great strategy. So, all right. So then Close of the bets that I won, Close was an important piece. So I had Close on a parlay, $100 bet to pay $801. So that was Close, Godinez, Lord, and Pratis. Now, once Godinez won, actually, I'll say this honestly, once Lord won, I was very confident that Pratis was going to win. So I looked at that as, but I still hedged on Jeff Neal, even though I knew. But I said, okay, I'll bet whatever I need to bet on Jeff Neal to ensure that I either live to fight another day or win this $800. So I win the 800. You know, I had probably like 500 out on the night. And then I bet on Nolan, I bet on Jeff Neal. So really, I'm pretty much at like break even. I think it was up like $100 with that practice win. But I also had Lord by knockout, Lord, practice, Murphy, like all these things parlayed, a lot of options. And then I had Driscus Duplessis, 200 to win 800. And then I had Hamzat by I had Hamzat first round one, free bet that I got from FanDuel, $400 free bet. They do what's called a deposit match bonus on FanDuel. So when I deposited, I got a match and they gave me $500 in free bets. So I put 400 of those free bets on Hamzat round one to win 1,000. So Hamzat wins round one, free and clear $1,000. And when he had him in the crucifix, I was kind of like, we're about to win $1,000. But I would also have won Hamzat by finish, so I would have won like another $1,500, right? So I'm putting myself in a position to win big while already securing my break-even point. And when we got to the main, well, we'll get to the main event in a second, but Chase Hooper versus Alex Hernandez. Alex, I came on the show. I picked Alex Hernandez. I humbly said, hey, at this point in my life, Chase Hooper, I wouldn't be able to beat him, even though much of this podcast has been me saying I would beat Chase Hooper in a fight. I'm back. I would beat Chase Hooper in a fight. I would beat Chase Hooper. I think nothing Hernandez did is outside of my skill set. You know, all he did was wait for Chase Hooper to do something fucking stupid on the feet and knock his ass out. I could do the same thing. So Chase Hooper, not afraid of his jiu-jitsu, would never take me down. So what's he left to do? Strike with me. I knocked Chase Hooper out just like Alex Hernandez. I could definitely do that. Give me
Those spinning back fists were embarrassing.
Chase Hooper is an embarrassing striker, and he's way too confident. And you know what's funny? During the embedded, they were like putting a do-rag on him, and they were like, Chase Hooper, you're hood now. And his wife is in the bed, and she's like uncomfortable with all of it. And you can tell she's like, lock in. Like this hoopla, this like little silly shit is not it. Like lock in, dude. Lock in. And like she's like uncomfortable. Like Chase Hooper's wife was visibly uncomfortable in UFC embedded. Let me see if I can find it while Alex talks through this fight in the next one.
Yeah, super embarrassing fight. Super embarrassing to pick Chase Hooper. I mean, he wasn't doing all that bad in the beginning of the round, but once Alex Hernandez picked up on his timing, he was connecting with almost every shot. Definitely rough to see Chase Hooper not really utilize any of that grappling. Apparently, you're right. He doesn't really know how to wrestle at all. Couldn't get Alex Hernandez down. Didn't even really try to. Just tried to have like a weird cardio kickboxing match against him. And ended up getting slapped.
Yeah. And love it. Love that Alex Hernandez did that. So what's interesting is the fight was stopped with 2 seconds left. Herzog, a guy on this show we've talked about, you know, being such a butcher with fights like the Damon Jackson fight, fights like the Muhammad Yahya fight. All these fights where like he allows a guy to take beatings of a lifetime, and only for the doctor to stop it, and then you get him stopping the fight with 2 seconds left. So I think Herzog has a bit of the case of the yips. I think he's yipping out. I think it's like a pitcher or somebody, you know, in baseball, or a hitter in baseball where they just can't seem to get a hit. He has the yips. He's heard the public commentary. He's heard the calls for trial and negligence, criminal negligence. He's heard these calls and he's like, I need to fucking stop these fights a little sooner.
When I was in high school, one of my buddies had the yips. He was a baseball player and he could throw it to first anytime. But once the game started, every time throwing it over into the stands, throwing it into right field. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
So I picked Alexander Hernandez, you know, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And
fair enough.
You know,
next up, Lupi Godinez, Jessica Andrade, uneventful, but
hey, Lupi got it done. She won. I thought it was a fun fight to watch. She was throwing with ferocity and having a good time in there, and got it done. Could have made it a little easier on us, but hey, whatever. she was a definitely probably a pillar for me. I mean, you got the age factor, but you know, I did find myself pleasantly surprised when I saw her get her hand raised, because I was like, she always seems to find a way to fuck things up a little bit, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Jesse Andrade just needs to get back with Vitor Belfort's nutritionist or something, because it's just not happening anymore. Lord Michael, phenomenal work against Gerald Mearshart. I mean, should have seen it coming. I really rate Lord highly. He has had some down performances, but ever since he's been with the Fighting Nerds, he's been turning it up. So I don't know. I love Lord. I usually pick him, and then he ends up failing me. Like, I thought he was gonna beat the shit out of Kevin Holland. But yeah, I guess going forward we got to put all that behind us, because he's got some fighting nerd in him.
Bro, I can't find this fucking clip of Chase Uber's wife getting super uncomfortable with everything. But I must. Oh, here it is. I found it. Ooh, I found it. Okay. Hold on. All right, keep talking. It's gonna take me a second. Oh, here it is. Oh my god, I freeze framed it on the perfect fucking moment. Hold on. Okay, guys, this is exactly what I was talking about. Hold on. Share screen. Do you see this? Look at that. We've all seen that from our wives, our girlfriends. We've all seen that little like forced sheet. Look, okay, so what you need to look at is the cheeks. See how the cheeks are like dimpled out, but the mouth is straight. She is forcing the smile so much, but it will not get past the 180-degree angle. It's like she's trying to lift that smile up so fucking hard with her cheeks, and it will not go. And look, I'll hit play. You saw that little awkward look, right? I don't want to show his kids.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to show his kids.
I mean,
But
dude,
they're horsing around. Look, and she even shakes her head no. She goes, like, you know what I mean? Like, do you see that? This is the exact look I was talking about. Hold on. They're doing his silly stuff. Oh, jeez. She's like this. And see, look, he's got the do-rag on. And let's see if they go back to, they don't. Okay. But you see what I'm saying, guys? Like, she was right. Lock in, dude. What are we doing here? Like, first of all, if you're going to be horsing around, like, we got the kid. Could you maybe hold the kid for a second? Like I'm out here with my iced coffee. Like, it's my vacation, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've all heard it. Johnny Walker's eating cartoon KO'd. Interesting. We will talk about that in just a second. Let's finish up with this last week's card. So, Lord obviously is an absolute G. I love Lord. Lord Michael by knockout. Amazing. Great. I also feel Michael Venom Page is amazing. I felt that was awesome. You know, I think a lot of people, what they don't realize is, and this is kind of coinciding with the main event, people are very frustrated with Jared Cannonier for not doing more in the third round. Guys, it's a skill to be able to defend yourself when someone else is on top of you. Like, that's actually like one of jiu-jitsu's kind of like tenets is like, look, step one, don't fight at all. Step two, close the distance, take him down, submit him, get the fuck out of there. Step three, he takes you down, submit him, get the fuck out of there. Step four, don't get knocked the fuck out and be able to tire him out. And if this fight goes 90 minutes, you're going to fucking be a lot less tired than he is when he's trying to fucking work you, and eventually you'll tire him out. Be good at jiu-jitsu and fucking dip and duck and hold and do all these different little things that Michael Venom Page was doing. And that doesn't get enough credit, I think, because, look, you got a flashy striker. It's like, you can't, he's not, first of all, he won that fight with a 1-2. He threw with his first kick in the third round. Like, he won that fight with 2 punches. In between those 2 punches, just clowning them, having, and really the thing is, like, you show that fight to your 80-year-old, you know, grandpa, he's going to be like, fuck this flashy guy. He's like, you know, he's showboating. Nah, you got to explain to him. It's like, no, he's not hot dog. He's not showboating. This is all a way of fighting that puts him in the spots that he wants to be in and puts his enemy in the spots he doesn't want to be in. It has nothing to
do.
Yeah. And really just combine, like, kind of mystifying him, just freezing him up. and also just making them fear you, right? I mean, it's fear the entry a little bit more. So great fights.
Yeah, I wish Jared Cannonier would have mixed in some wrestling a little sooner. He probably could have won that fight. I mean, maybe Michael Venom Page was just like, yeah, I'll just lay on my back for the last round because I know for sure I won the first two because I did rock him in both rounds.
Yeah. But, you know, Demetrius Johnson before this fight was like, and MVP, I always tell him, man, you should just take these guys down and submit them. Your jiu-jitsu is so good. It's like, yeah, Demetrius, you're a fucking 125-pound shrimp. This guy is 185 pounds. I'm sure when you did jiu-jitsu with him, you thought it was really good and impressive. I'm really sure that that was the fucking case because you're out here mighty mousing around fucking, you know what I mean? Like, you ever watch the videos of him training with these guys who come in that are way bigger than him? It's like, yeah, you're like playing around. It's like you fight them the way that you fight fucking death sentence. Like, you're like, ha, woo, woo, woo. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like rolling and doing all. You're not, it's not like, all right, like MVP, me versus you in jiu-jitsu right now, 5 minutes. Let's see what happens. Like, let's both try our hardest. It's not like that. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, like you're like, wow, he's actually really good. It's like, you're not trying and he's not trying. How the fuck could you even know? You're both slow rolling. Like, oh, he knows the moves. Like, you know what I mean? So some people know the notes. They can't fucking stand up there and play with Metallica. Like, it's so
Yeah.
anyway, practice. I was sitting there.
Hold on, you skipped Tim Elliott.
Okay, well, you know why?
Why?
Took a break for that fight.
Okay.
Had to get a window in somewhere, you know what I mean? And I was like, I'm looking at the rest of the card. I go, of all the fights left, I was like, would have been great if I had this opportunity with Godinez. But of all the fights left, that's the one I care about the least.
Fair enough.
Wish it went to decision. Got cut a little short.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, Kaya Sakura like cut him. You know, like what are we doing here, B?
Yeah, I don't want to see him rise up after that.
No, never.
I don't want him to even get better and win the title. Like, it's like
I'd like to see him in Rising again.
Yeah,
I don't want to see him rising up at all.
Yeah,
unless they're the Rising rankings.
Yeah, I need a complete makeover, complete change of paint, complete overhaul on his whole image. He needs to go. He needs to be treated like Yusuf Zalal was fucking treated. You need to go out there and do a kickboxing match, a boxing match, 2 MMA fights, and they all need to be finishes. Then we'll see your ass again. That's when I'll respect you again. Because I respected Yusuf Zalal when they fucking cut him off the draw. I don't respect you at all coming into the UFC with 2 serve-up opportunities. He could have beat Pantoja. I'm sick of this shit. He could have fucking kicked Pantoja in the fucking head. What's his name? Steve Erceg, who got knocked out by Kai Kara-France and almost knocked out by fucking
Ode Osborne.
Ode Osborne. He beat Pantoja. I watched that fight. I thought he won. So you can't even beat the guy who got beat by Steve Erceg, who got beat by Kai Kara-France and almost Ode Osborne. And you can't beat, and then you get Tim Elliott. You can't even beat Tim Elliott. And by the way, Tim Elliott, the man, and if you saw his girlfriend in the haircutting shop, way hotter than any fighter chick he was dating. So fucking, he made out well in that situation. You know what I mean? And I love that for him.
Good on him. Good on him.
It always works that way. It always works that way. These women who were like, I'd rather be with Kevin Krug. Okay. Hey, guess what? Now Tim Elliott is like sitting there like, yeah, I got a way hotter chick because I'm actually famous and rich. You know what I mean? You guys like that stuff. You're kind of famous, not very rich. But even if she was the most famous and rich UFC women's fighter of all time, it really doesn't like do what it does to be a Tim. You could put it this way: Tim Elliott can get a girl way outside of his league.
Absolutely. Gina Mazzaglia?
No. Like a women's champion.
Oh.
Yes.
Maybe Juliana Pena. Maybe Joanna.
I just think that the things that men look for, like a guy isn't sitting there like, will you sign my autograph? And women's champion, I have the biggest crush on you. Like the guy, or at least the guys that are like billionaires and millionaires and the ones that these women want to be with, they're not like waiting in line. But Tim Elliott has like a whole line of chicks probably waiting to get his own. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say that it's a fool's errand for her to do that to poor Tim. to cheat on poor Tim. I don't even know who it was. It's not Gina Mazzani. Just
It
let you
was
know.
Gina
It was
Mazzani.
not Gina Mazzani.
Yes, it was.
No, it fucking wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Gina Mazzani is actually a respectable woman, by all accounts. And I don't want you saying this, that she broke up Tim Kennedy and Kevin Croom's friendship.
Gina Mazzani. How do you spell her name?
It's easy. M-A-Z something. All right. So anyway, let me tell you guys this. Carlos Prates. I bet him in some parlays to win by knockout in round 1. Okay. We're watching this fight, me and my wife. And I say to her,
personal life, she was in a relationship with fellow UFC fighter Tim Elliott on July 28th, 2020. Elliott announced on Instagram that he and Mazzani were engaged. Elliott and Mazzani have since divorced.
Say it ain't so. And she took the Airbnb?
I think she took the Airbnb. If
Say it ain't so, Gina Mazzani. I thought better of you. Okay. So anyway, Prates, I say to my wife, we're watching the fight. She knows I have him to win by round 1 knockout. And, the ladies get a little nervous sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So I can see her posture change when 1 minute is left on the clock. And I say to her, babe, see that ref, incompetent Jason Herzog? This guy stopped the fight with 2 seconds left tonight. So we are golden. Like, this fight can be stopped with 2 seconds left. We're good. And wouldn't you fucking know it? With 1 second left, spinning fucking elbow, knocks him out with 1 second left. I was so profoundly happy that I went past happiness and into a new place of just calm lucidity, where I'm like, I look at her, I go, do you realize how crazy that is that I just said that the fight was stopped in 2 seconds earlier in the night, but now this one was stopped 1? So like the only better thing that could have happened just happened, and the same ref was in there, and then I just said that 1 minute before, and then it just happened. And then, do you see like the significance of this? And I bet him to win by round 1 knockout, and he did with 1 second left. Do you see how cool this is? She was like, yeah, pretty cool. I was like, this is when you wish you were at Buffalo Wild Wings. When you do something like that, this is when you want all the boys around. You're like, yeah. As opposed to your wife, we have to explain to her how cool that is.
Oh, I was like,
sleepy.
Holy shit. And then my girlfriend woke up and she was like, hey, a little loud, right? And I was like, no, you don't understand what just happened. Like, this guy just got spinning back elbow, knocked out with 1 second left. I was like, it's only happened nine times in UFC history, including this one. And I'm telling her that. Then the next fight comes on. And
then the 10th one. I mean, a fight where at this point, I have Murphy in a parlay that included Prates round 1 knockout. $17 for $600. At this point, the last leg of that one is Hamzat by finish, right? But I could always just hedge with, fight to go the distance or whatever. I already had the hedge on DDP. So what it came down to was the parlays that I had that included my kind of late kind of switch of thought, which was Pico by knockout. So I had a parlay that was I had a straight bet Pico by knockout, $100 to win 500. And I was ready, for Pico to get the knockout and me to kind of surrender the Murphy parlay. And Pico was fighting so well, and I thought he was going to get the knockout. I really did. And then, man, that came out of nowhere. And really, how do you talk shit to Pico about that? It's like, yeah, dude, sometimes that happens. I mean, I guess he could have, I don't know, really not much he could have done differently.
Yeah, I love Aaron Pico, but this was the most obvious pick in the world, and I know he was doing well to start the fight, but this is a classic Aaron Pico moment here. He's not a guy who's all that polished. Lerone Murphy is the best fighter he's ever fought, and sure, he had success early, but Aaron Pico is a guy who throws himself into a fire and he will chase a knockout and put himself in danger to do so. Has been that way his entire career. That's why, he's 13-5 and not undefeated. He was this highly touted prospect. Everybody thought there's no way anybody can beat him. He boxes with Freddie Roach. He made a U.S. National team and won a world championship. How could you possibly beat that? And just like that, he again comes into a big debut spot into an organization where the lights are a little too bright, and he gets flatlined and embarrassed like no other. Both of these times, if you know anything about Aaron Pico, you should have known this was going to happen, and just seen the writing on the wall from all the other Bellator guys this year. Like, they're not fighting anywhere as good a competition as the top 10, top 15, top 20, hell, even anybody on the UFC roster. Like Ricky Bandejas. Where does Ricky Bandejas rank in the UFC rankings? Nowhere near Lerone Murphy. That's for goddamn sure. He's not even in the top 15, Ricky Bandejas. Guaranteed.
Yeah. So listen, I went on the picks we gave on this podcast because, Ferreira versus King Green fell out. Ruzabov versus Brian Battle fell out. Brian Battle, fat ass idiot, would have lost anyway. Wish I could have won money on Ruzabov. Donchenko versus Cesnado was out. So of the picks we gave on this podcast, there was 11, and I went 8 out of 11. So I gave you guys 8 correct picks, and all 2 sets of 4 were all in a row. So close, underdog. Hernandez, underdog. Godinez, slight favorite. Lord, favorite, but took him by knockout, put it in the bet sheet by knockout to get you underdog odds. Those 4 in a fucking row after the first 2 fights went down. And honestly, Barbosa, like I said, I thought she won that. But again, women's fight shouldn't be betting that one anyway. Minus 500 Idris shouldn't be betting that one anyway. So the 4 I gave you in a row that were incredibly valuable, all correct. We lose with Sakura, but then we win throughout the rest of the night. So, Page, Pratis, Murphy, Case, Khamzat Chimaev, we win on every single one of those. So with those picks that I gave correct, I was able to parlay and put myself in a situation where if Khamzat won by knockout, I would have won $400 more on top of like the 200 I had already pocketed. If Khamzat won by finish, I would have won 600. So that's another 1,000 if he knocked him out, because I would have won the knockout one and the finish. So that would have been another 1,000. If he did that in round 1, that's another 1,000. So I set myself up to where if Khamzat was in that crucifix and actually was fucking landing elbows and he knocked him out in round 1, I would have won $2,000 more. I also had a hedge that I did earlier in the week. They gave me a profit boost on this, so I was able to do 200 for about 800 on DDP. And then it was like, if DDP wins, I get 800. If Khamzat wins by first round knockout, I get 2,000. If Khamzat wins by knockout, I get 1,000. If Khamzat wins by finish, I get 600. And I said to myself, wow, I'm like pretty much set to win, at minimum $1,000 or $600 here, no matter what happens. So let me just think what could go wrong. Well, the answer to that was Khamzat could win by decision. And I said to Alex, hey, I will win more money as long as Khamzat doesn't win by decision. Any other outcome, I will win more money. So
at that time, you hadn't even bet.
I hadn't even bet this yet. I go,
you were like,
jokingly, I said, so bet that. And then I start to think about it. I go, no, yeah, no, yeah. What's the line on that? And I look, plus 500. And I'm like, fuck, I'm going to win 600 minimum no matter what happens right now, unless he wins by decision. So I'm like, now I'll win 500 minimum no matter what happens. I throw 100 on Khamzat to win by decision. And that was the one that won. So I won $500 more on that. The rest lost, but I was already at break even. I had already won back the money that I bet on those. So I was already at break even. So I won 500 more on top of about 200. So I came away with like 690 on the night-ish. I don't know. And now I'm at like
Rob Whitaker,
whatever the amount that I won. 400. I think I won like 400, but I lost money betting on like Nolan, and I lost money betting on Pico that I had won. So
Rob Whitaker had the worst take ever. Did you see what he said? He said, if you think that fight was boring, you're a casual.
Here's the thing. It's like, look, I get what he's saying in that, like, I didn't think the fight was like, I'm not going to call it boring because I've fallen asleep during fights. I found it to be very interesting to like watch from the perspective of like, okay, every round starts on the feet. Will Driscoll be able to defend the takedown in the next round? Will he get an opportunity? Will he get stood up? Will he get out? Will he get submitted? Will he get finished? So there was a lot of what ifs. But guys, I mean, I lived through the George St. Pierre days where I watched, Dan Hardy and these other guys go fight George St. Pierre. And I was very young in my, opinions and very unsophisticated in my understanding of mixed martial arts and jiu-jitsu. And I was very much like, okay, like I hope that Dan Hardy knocks him out because that's the more exciting thing. And I really didn't appreciate GSP's victories when it was happening, But, now you look back and nobody remembers that about GSP. They remember him knocking out Michael Bisping. They remember his war with fucking Carlos Condit and Johnny Hendricks. They don't remember, the boring fights that he had and just like wishing that somebody would get a finish, or that you would at least feel like it never really felt like George was going for a finish. That was kind of the problem. It felt like Khamzat was going for finishes, and it also felt like he was just putting Driscus in a situation where it was a shutout. Like anytime it's a shutout where the guy can't even do anything and he's the champion, that is interesting, right?
And that's exactly why I think Robert Whittaker is got it all fucked up. He's got everything fucked up here. It's okay to have a preference in how you want a fight to be played out, and it isn't like that. Nobody sits here and is like, I want to see the guy get on top and throw 500 pillow punches from the top, and the other guy form no base and get up ever at all during the fight and just see 5 takedowns, 5 ride him out, 500 punches. That sounds like a great show. That's why the best brains Bappa, Brendan Schaub, has the best take. Yes, it's impressive. Nobody's saying it isn't impressive. Nobody's saying, oh, Khamzat, you should have, you didn't do well. Khamzat, the ref should have stood it up. No, the ref shouldn't have stood it up. He threw 500 fucking punches from the top, and he was changing positions regularly and working on top. He was working. No one's saying that he wasn't. It was just boring as all fucking get out to watch. Super impressive, much like a no-hitter. That's why I brought up Schaub. Schaub said it's like a no-hitter. Boring, impressive, but boring. It's like, not...
Oh, that's your takeaway?
I don't go to a baseball game to watch a pitcher's duel. I want to see some fucking dingers, okay? And I wanted to see at least, a shade of them striking on the feet, just a glance. Like, I'm not a guy who's like, oh, they got to keep it on the feet the entire time, but not just 25 minutes of ride time. Like, that was insane. I haven't seen anything like that. Super, super impressive, but not my cup of tea. Not what I want to watch. Not 25 minutes of just absolute mauling, not even really mauling, just like pop shots from the top. A couple times he started, really going into those shots from the top when he knew he had it and he knew he had the gas for the end of the fight. But at that point, it was already like a foregone conclusion.
Yep. No, I agree. A lot of interesting matchups for DDP now that he's not champion. A lot of interesting matchups for Khamzat. But we got to move on to the next card. We got a card. See, Robert Whittaker said you're a casual if you didn't like that fight or whatever. I think you're a casual if you don't watch the fight that is on this weekend from the first fight. If you say it starts at 3:30 in the morning, I'll catch it at 9. I'll miss the first few. I don't care about the first few. If you don't say, I watch UFC and I watch every weekend and I'm going to watch all the fights because I'm watching the living history of the sport and I'm making sure nothing doesn't make it across my desk, then you're a casual. Like, I half suspect Dan did not watch the fucking UFC 319 card. I half suspect it because I know for a fact Dan was at a bachelor party that weekend. And I know for a fact the crew he was with. And I know for a fact not one of them gave a fuck about the UFC fight. So Dan would have been the only one. Now, if I were in that situation, I would be a hardcore evangelist and I would have every single person excited that the fight was going to be on. I would have paid for it myself. I would have put it on. I would have put it on for everybody. I would have not. See, this is me at a bachelor party when the fight's on, right? I go, I will casually mention that the fight is on if it intertwines with our plans. For example, if it's a night where we're all hanging out at the Airbnb, I'll casually mention, oh, and the fight's on. I'll throw that on. What? Casually. Then I will put it on. I'll pay for it. I'll put it on. I'll have already brought my own Apple TV or my own laptop with an HDMI cord. Or if all else fails, I'll motherfucking put that fight on my phone and I will watch it myself. I'll be playing Flip Cup and I'll put it against the full beer can and I'll just have it sitting right there and I'll keep my eye on it. And really, you're not watching fights the whole night. You're watching fights in little clips. And like when you're at a party, you could be mingling, talking during the pre-fight stuff. Then you go, oh, where the fight's on? And you start watching it. Before you know it, everyone's corralled around me and my little phone watching these fights here. And what I have to say about this shit, watching me win money, that's how I dominate bachelor parties. That's how I dominate parties when I go to parties. I don't dominate them. I make it a choice that people decide to make. I'm a high I, an inspiring individual. I inspire people to do what I want to do. Now, That being said, I've been my best friend's wedding. He gets married. I'm the last man standing watching the fights anyway. Everyone passes out or goes to sleep. So what I'm trying to say, Alex, is I bet Dan didn't watch the fight this weekend because he was at a bachelor party and nobody else cared, and he didn't have the gumption to bring a laptop, bring an HDMI cord, buy it himself, put it on one of the many TVs in the house, and just have it as an option, while also being able to keep you. I'm not saying I'm going to be sitting there by myself like, I'm watching the fights. I'm not going to play flip cup. I'm not going to play beer pong. I'm not going to sit by the fire, and I'm not going to hang out and talk, and I'm not. No, I'm going to do all those things, but I'm going to put the fight on, and I'm going to use my time wisely. I'm going to mingle, go back down, catch a fight. Oh, Lupe Godinez is fighting Jessica Andrade. Cool, I got some money on this, but better for my karma if I just walk away, let this play out, go fill some cups, hey, then come back for the real fights. And by the time the real fights are going on, everyone's fucking dead anyway. It's like 12 midnight. And if they haven't all corralled around the couch to watch it by that point, you're not doing your job as a UFC evangelist. I don't miss fights. Rule of thumb. Like, I don't miss fights. I watch them. If it's 3:30 in the morning, I say, the obstacle is the way.
Fair enough. This is actually a sneaky good card.
It is. So let's go. First fight of the night. Dayar Nurgazai versus Uran Saltabayev. Dayar Nurgazai, you'll remember him as the man with no neck, the man with eyes way too close together. He looks like a flounder. He is 0-1 in the UFC. He got submitted by Brenson Hiberio March 15th, 2025. So he was a big favorite going into that fight, by the way. Nurgazai, I liked him off the Contender Series. I thought he was a beast. He has that thing going on that Demiris Magulov does from the same region also, I believe, and he kind of twitches out and stuff when he's fighting, but didn't seem to be a big deal. I'm going with Nurgazai. I don't know what the line is on this fight, but I don't know anything about Uran Saltabayev. His nickname's Gorilla. He's fighting out of Kyrgyzstan, same place as Valentina Shevchenko, 3-0 in the LFA, but he lost his last fight to Martin Budai. Martin Budai, who is good, who we all respect here. I respect Martin Budai. In fact, I picked him as an underdog against Marcus Buchecha in his last fight. So I like Martin Budai, but I think that, this guy lost his UFC debut. So did Dayar Nurgazai. I just think Dayar Nurgazai's got a little bit more lead in his pencil.
Yeah. I hear you there, but Nurgazai came in on
plus 250 underdog. Interesting.
Yeah. Or Iran came in on pretty short notice. I think.
And Alex, furthermore, this fight's at 205. Last weigh in for Nurgazai 210. Last weigh in for Iran 222. 6'4". So will he even get down to 205, or will this fight even happen is the question. How are you getting down from 15 extra pounds?
I think it'll happen, and bad maths on that one. 225.
Yeah, 15 is easy.
Yeah, and especially at that weight, not a big deal whatsoever.
Not a big deal.
He was probably just undisciplined at heavyweight, and now he's just going to be a little bit more disciplined with his diet, and it's not a hard cut whatsoever. I'm going to go with Iran here. He came in on short notice against Budai. Budai is a very good fighter. He's only lost one fight, and it was to Shamil Gaziv, who we rate pretty highly around here. Dayar, on the other hand, Brenson Hiberio lost every single fight in the UFC except for a split decision against Caio Machado. So losing to Brenson Hiberio is a bad loss. That's only his second win in the UFC. He's 2-3. He was a guy who was just getting flatlined by everybody, and then you go out there and get submitted by him in the second round with a Kimura, nonetheless. Not a good look. Not a good look whatsoever. I'm going with Uran Saltabayev.
Interesting. Next fight, I'm going with Long Zhao. He's a slight underdog, 27-9. I just think that jiu-jitsu, which is kind of like Su Yong Yu's bread and butter, I don't think it's going to play as much of a role. I mean, Long Zhao had a blood and guts war in his last fight and managed to get a win against Quang Li in the third round. And I know him to be pretty physical, and I think he'll be able to defend the takedowns and get the win by knockout against Su Yong Yu. So I'm taking Long Zhao.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on this one. I'll go with Long Zhao. He had a long Zhao, not a very short Zhao. I'm gonna go with Long Zhao, the hometown guy in China, UFC China. This is gonna be an immaculate event, and I think he's gonna end up winning it.
Next, we got Yiza versus Weston Wilson, a really good fight. 28-year-old Yiza, 0-2 in the UFC, given an opportunity after the road to UFC, and then found his lost, by split decision to Zhang Yong Li on UFC Fight Night in the finale, and then went back to the road to UFC, won 3 in a row, and now is back after losing his Fight Night debut to Gabriel Santos. Tell me why the fuck I shouldn't bet Weston Wilson at plus 750 against fucking Yiza, who has beaten nobody. Yeah, Weston Wilson got finished by Anderson Brito, who's a beast, and John Silva, who's a beast. Then he submitted Jeka Saragi. Why the fuck should I not take Weston Wilson at plus 775 on Typology?
You have every reason to, and you should. This is a dog or pass situation all the way. This guy hasn't beaten anybody, hasn't gotten a win in the UFC. Weston Wilson went out there and disposed of Jeka Sargai very, very easily, very quickly. He's training with Steve Wonderboy Thompson, the yellow belly of the South. So at least he's got some high caliber talent in there. You got to wonder where Yiz is getting his work from. Is he Team Alpha Male? No. Seems like a pipeline there sometimes. The China to Team Alpha Male pipeline is usually very strong.
I agree.
Give me Weston Wilson. I think it's just one of these situations where how am I going to spend minus 1,500 on a guy who has not won in the UFC against a guy who has?
Yeah. All right. So after losing to Eric Anders 2 years and 8 months ago, the long-awaited return of the Darce Knight, Kyle Daukaus, coming off of 4 wins at CFFC, 3 of 4 by finish, 32 years old, making a second run in the UFC at a Martinez BJJ, 6'3", 76-inch reach, taking on 6'1", 73-inch reach, Michel Pereira. Nothing about me seeing Michel Pereira have had fights and me seeing Kyle Daukaus have fights tells me Kyle Daukaus is the bigger, more physical fucking guy than Michel Pereira. Just so we're all clear on that. I don't believe these stats. I think Michel Pereira is a more hearty individual than Kyle Daukaus. Listen, I heard rumors that after the Hernandez fight, Michel Pereira was not the same from close people that are around him, that he just isn't the same. If he is truly broken, if he is truly a whipped dog after that loss to Anthony Hernandez, he might go out here and fucking lose to Kyle Daukaus, who found a way to headbutt Kevin Holland into getting a win there. But I think that Michel Pereira should easily dispatch of this guy. I think he should beat the fucking piss out of Kyle Daukaus. So I'm taking Michel Pereira. I don't have any love for Kyle Daukaus here in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to take Kyle Daukaus here just because I'm kind of down on Michel Pereira lately, but no reason to do so. From what we've seen on Kyle Daukaus, the tape we've seen on him, he's had like 8 fights in the UFC, I'm pretty sure. 2-4. No. 2-4-1. So 7. Wow, close. We've seen a lot on him. We've seen just about the same amount on Michel Pereira. I love what I see from Michel Pereira a lot more than I do from Kyle Daukaus. Give me Michel Pereira. But it's like Luke said, if what he heard is true through the grapevine, that's bad news.
I heard it from Fluffy Hernandez. He said he heard through the grapevine that Michel Pereira has not.
Did he hear it from the grapevine or the grape?
I mean, he fought Abbas Magomedov to a decision after that. And I thought he was going to beat Abbas Magomedov. Really, everything has gone wrong ever since that Wonder Boy, the yellow belly of the South, Wonder Boy fucking pulled out of that fight when he missed weight by 2 pounds. That was what really went wrong. Wonder Boy trying to squeeze welfare Wonder Boy trying to squeeze the UFC for a check for not fighting.
Wonder if he took that class action lawsuit money.
Wonder Boy is out here like with a fucking sign on the beach that says, I'll kick a fucking apple off your head for $5. Like, he's, I'm kidding. But,
well, like, I'll drive your kids to school, that fucking weirdo.
he leaves no dollar behind. You know what I mean? But he leaves a lot on the table when he tries to welfare Wonder Boy his way into a couple checks. Just because Michelle Pereira missed weight by 2 pounds. Good to know. Wonder Boy can't beat anybody that's 3 pounds heavier than him. Good to know. He won't even try. I'm going with Michelle Pereira by finish emphatically. Take us through Rong Zhu versus Austin Hubbard. I got to go tinkle real quick, but so do it.
All right, we got Thud Hubbard versus Rong Zhu. Now, I'm a guy who hasn't necessarily been as down on Austin Hubbard as, I probably should be. He's 4-7 in the UFC, but if you take a closer look, he's got 2 split decision losses, maybe even a third. No, 2 split decision losses. A lot of these fights were super close for him. I think Thud Hubbard is a pretty decent fighter, well-rounded. He doesn't do anything that jumps off the page. He will make any fight close. Any fight that he's in is relatively close, tit for tat. He's usually wearing a lot of the damage. I got to go with Rong Zhu, though. I just think that he's a better fighter, especially on the feet. I think that he's going to have he's going to have the snappier, faster strikes, the more accurate strikes than Thud Hubbard. I don't know. There's really not too much to say. Luke left at a terrible time for me to, have a soliloquy about a fight. But next up, we have Leonard Cavanaugh versus Charles Johnson. That's a fight that I am super interested in. I think this has fight of the night written all over it. Charles Johnson, he's a tough son of a gun, doesn't really get finished too much. Leonard Cavanaugh, very, very powerful striker. The issue here is that homeboy Charles Johnson is huge for this weight class. He's going to come in 5 inches taller, only 3 inches of reach extra. I think that Charles Johnson is a guy who does play spoiler a lot. He's much like.
Wait. Did you get to the next fight already?
Yeah, dude. You left me on Rong Zhu versus Austin Hubbard. What do you want me to pontificate?
I'm taking Austin Hubbard here. Just pure American steel and sex appeal. Going in there, ugly as all get out, beating this guy's ass. I mean, why is he a minus 290 favorite? Actually, shit, I forgot. He beat Cody Steele.
Yeah. Austin Hubbard ain't no Cody Steele.
I'm going Rong Zhu. I forgot about that. That was at UFC Macau, wasn't it? Last time there was a 3 a.m. card, and I bet against Rong Zhu, and I fucking ate crow for it. So, yeah, I'll take Rong Zhu.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Charles I was saying, Leonard Cavanaugh versus Charles Johnson. This is a fight that I would highlight on this card. Gonna be a great one. Charles Johnson is much like C-Rod, Christian Rodriguez. He plays spoiler. He's a guy that's hard to get out of there. He also has a lot of close fights, much like Thud Hubbard, but Charles Johnson's a little bit more well-rounded. The problem with Charles Johnson is every time I pick him, he loses, and every time I don't pick him, he wins. So I can't make heads or tails on this guy. I mean, I'm sure I've gotten him right on some of these wins. He has more wins than losses, but every time that I have picked him, he has lost, except for a couple of times where he won. But every time I haven't picked him, he's won. Give me Leonard Cavanaugh, a homecoming. No, he's a UK boy, but he's repping the Chinese flag. He's going to go out there, get a big pop. He's more dynamic than Charles Johnson, but Charles Johnson, I mean, I'm talking myself into Charles Johnson, but I really think Leonard Cavanaugh has a higher ceiling than Charles Johnson, but you got to pick them where they are. Give me Leonard Cavanaugh.
Yeah, I think I picked Felipe Dos Santos against Leonard Cavanaugh, or at least I bet it. Because I remember watching that fight and thinking Dos Santos had won, or maybe I had a chance. Or maybe being frustrated. I'm not sure, but I have a memory of that fight. This is kind of a pass for me. I need to see where Leonard Cavanaugh is. I don't know. I'll go with what's the? I mean, I know Lunar Capital's a big favorite, but
No, you're
it's,
right. It is Charles Johnson.
it's Charles Johnson here, I think.
It's Charles Johnson, and you know Felipe Dos Santos. He did get cut recently. I think the world of him. Tough
Here's
go.
here's the thing. He is 34 at 125.
He is
That's an
34.
8-year
That's
age gap. That's an 8-year age gap. We
a
got a guy
huge
with 7
cut for him, I
losses.
imagine.
Get a guy with 7 losses across 24 fights and 9-0. 9-0, but also shorter, sacrificing a lot of reach. Like Charles Johnson's slippery, like hard to get down and keep down.
Knocked out Josh Van, who's all the rage right now.
So the pick's Charles Johnson for me. Look, I didn't go Austin Hubbard as a dog. I'll go Charles Johnson as a dog.
All right. Fair enough. Next up, we got Machete versus Gage Young. Luke, what do you think about this?
Well, Gage Young. A lot of these guys on this card, Su Young Yu, Young, he's like a popular name in Asia. So it's almost like that Moses.
Ironically enough, his first loss was Bobby Lee. Gage Young.
It's almost like that Bart Simpson prank call to Mo Sizlak. Yeah, if Mo Sizlak had a bar in China. Can I speak with Gage Young? Do we have a Gage Young? Yeah, it's kind of like that, right? Is this a last minute replacement? Who was Mahashate supposed to fight? Nobody. It was supposed to be this one all along, huh? Okay.
Well, I don't know because Gage Young had a fight scheduled for May 2nd outside of the UFC.
You remember his fight with Evan Elder 3 months ago? Evan Elder?
Yes,
because I remember seeing Evan Elder in was against Ryan Koski. Did they even ever fight?
I remember because I made a joke.
Never fought.
I made a joke. I said the last time an Elder tried to gauge a Young, Pat Barry was in a lot of deep doo-doo.
And okay, so he did fight Pressure Preston Parsons. Because I'm sitting here going, Evan Elder has either fought Orion Koski or Pressure Preston Parsons in the history of the show, and he did in 2022. That's quite literally the only fight I even remember Evan Elder doing. For some reason, my brain does not accept Evan Elder knowledge. Guys, there's 600 fighters, 45 events a year. Like, I'm watching a lot of fights. I'm watching like 1,000 fights a year. And sometimes, like, I guess I'm getting old. My brain is just not taking them all in anymore. But he was supposed to fight Tom Nolan, Evan Elder. Or no, sorry. They confirmed he's fighting Tom Nolan on September 27th.
Good for Evan Elder.
I was thinking that I was looking at, I guess, Gage Young's page. And I'm like, how is he going to fight? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he's fighting this weekend. But I was like, that's pretty presumptuous. But okay, so, Mahashate lost to Nicholas Mata.
But Luke, this must have been scraped together late because, oh, never mind.
I don't think so. I mean,
Young
Mahashate's going to tower. He's going to tower over Gage Young, but I think that might make the takedown easier. Not that he would go for it, but if he wants it. And that's a big weakness on Mahashate. He can get taken down, I think.
Yeah, I'm taking Gage Young as well.
I'll take Gage Young. Last time they sent a guy from the middle of America over to China, it was against Mahashate. It was Steve Garcia, and he got knocked the fuck out. And he's good.
Yeah, he is.
Right? He got knocked out by Mahashate?
I think
he did. And Steve Garcia is fucking good, dude. So, yeah, he lost to Rafa Garcia by decision. He lost to Vladislav by knockout. Lost to one split decision, Gabriel Benitez. How the fuck do you beat Steve Garcia in the first round, knocking him the fuck out? Some guy who's so hard to knock out. And then you lose to all these people who I would say Steve Garcia beats with his eyes closed. Steve Garcia beats Mata. Steve Garcia beats Vladislav Borshev. Steve Garcia beats fucking the other guy. Rafa Garcia. Yeah. I think he has beaten some of those guys. So it's like.
Oh, you know what it is?
Oh, I didn't even say the big guys in the chat. The biggest learning from last weekend, is what I did with my bets, where I was like, wait a minute, I'm covered across everything, but the one thing I'm not looking at, it's Occam's razor. Not only me in that moment, but everybody online, every single person, even before the fights were starting, Chiesa, Anthony Smith, Chelsea, every single person who ever gave. I mean, I watched the Joe Rogan clip with like Dean Thomas and fucking Matt Serra and the other guy, and it was like they're all saying that I tune in to think, okay, do they have some insights? Like, have they heard things? Have they trained with these guys? They just say the same thing everybody else says, which is, I like DDP late, Hamzat early. If Hamzat can keep, I don't think he. But what about he's training with Sam Calvita? Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, DDP, he's already proven he can go 5 rounds. They said the same thing. Nobody would have said Hamzat was going to win over 5, right? Because they wouldn't have expected him to be able to get him down for that long without being able to submit him or finish him for 5 straight rounds. And they would have thought that if DDP could get up at all, it would be bad for Hamzat. But nobody thought that Hamzat could just GSP this guy. He could just take him down and wrestle fuck him for 5 fucking rounds. And that's what he was training with Sam Calvita to do. Not to be in a dogfight for 5 rounds. He was training him to do what he does in rounds 1 and 2, all 5. So the one thing nobody was predicting was Hamzat by decision. That's what happened. And the one thing everybody told you was, if DDP can make it past rounds 1 and 2, then you start to look at DDP. I'll tell you guys something. I checked the odds at the start of round 3 and the start of round 4. Okay? Plus 1,180 on DDP live. So at this point, I say to myself, all right, Luke, be the one guy with fucking balls and do what everybody said they were going to do, which is, oh, the best bet would be to bet DDP live after he goes down a couple rounds because Hamzat might guess. So I did it. But you know what I was comfortable doing? Knowing I was going to win like $500 no matter what? Comfortable with 20. Could have bet 100 to win 1,000. At that point in the fight, I was comfortable saying I'm willing to lose $20 to win 260 more on top of the 700 I would already won if DDP found a way to win. But it's like, you all said it. The line was 4 times. It got up as high as plus 1,500 by round 4. The line was fucking 5 times what it was at the start of the fight. And you were not confident doing that. And you definitely showed me the bet slip that you bet DDP. I can show you mine. I bet DDP live. Because I said, well, objectively, this is what we all said. And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to make decisions that you do in a sober mindset. You know what I mean? Do what you said you were going to do. In a sober, that's all discipline is, doing what you said you were going to do. Well, I'm just glad that I realized, Luke, we've walked into this door too many times where there was only one way we could lose. How many times have you said that, Luke? Oh, if I missed by one leg. There's only one way I can lose here, and then it happens. So I said, how about this? We make it so there's no fucking way we can lose.
Absolutely. Great move.
Absolutely. Hey, Mark Norman. I'm Kevin Hart. Okay.
We got Naraji versus Crosby. Kiefer Crosby versus the other guy. Nurlaji. I mean, Kiefer Crosby sucks. We know he sucks. But we don't know about this guy, Nurlaji, except for in recent memory, he had to pull out because he got an injury while cutting weight. The Arman Sarukian.
So look, let me say one thing. I'm not saying that all of these suspicious favorites are going to lose, but some of them will. So what you need to ask yourself is, by this first fight of the main card, if Lonnie Kavanaugh, Rong Zhu, not Yiza, not Long Zhao, but like if a lot of these big favorites that are local that have no reason to be big favorites, for example, like Rong Zhu hasn't beaten anybody, or sorry, he did. He beat the last guy he fought. He beat Cody Steele. But I'm saying if Yiza as a huge favorite beats Weston Wilson when he's fought nobody, and at least Weston Wilson fought John Silva, and if Mahashate beats Gay Zhang when he lost a lot of fights recently, like, then you got to look at this one like the bubble is about to burst. But if some of these other underdogs have pulled it off, then we've sniffed out the frauds. We've sniffed out the ones that are going to break it all up. So now we got this 24-year-old guy who's never fought anybody in the UFC, never fought anybody you've ever heard of, and he is taking on Kiefer Crosby, who is long in the tooth, who is old. He's 35. He's not been impressive. He's been submitted, but has something to fight for. Has to get a win. Has to try his best to get a win in the UFC. So, I mean, I'm almost kind of like, do I go Kiefer Crosby here? The devil you know kind of thing.
Hell no. I'm going Nurigi.
Okay.
Nurigi.
I'm going to go Kiefer Crosby.
Okay. Next, we got Sumaderji versus Kevin Borjas. I'm going to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. Sumaderji has done nothing but not deliver on expectations. Kevin Borjas is tough. He's not going to get finished by Sumaderji on the feet. Don't think Sumaderji is going to try to take Kevin Borjas down. I'm going with Kevin Borjas, baby. I think Kevin Borjas goes out there and whoops up on Sumaderji.
Complete agreement. Love it. Love the line. All in on Kevin Borjas. He's, in my opinion, not in my opinion, he is Peruvian, and they, in my opinion, have a ridiculous gas tank, ridiculous cardio. He's proven it. So he's Peruvian it. So yeah, give me Kevin Borjas.
All right. Next up, we got a guy who I've lost hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars on. Sergey Pavlovich versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. Another guy who's been a thorn in my side.
Yep.
Luke, what do you think about this one? Because I can't get right on either of these guys. I pick Acosta, he loses. I pick Sergey Pavlovich, he loses. Pick against them, they both win. I don't know what I can't make heads or tails of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so what I like about Acosta is at this point he beat Jared Bandera and Chase Sherman by decision. Then his first two fights, all off the Contender Series, where he had first round knockout, and before then, it's seen a good amount of knockouts. Even had some boxing matches. Then he, they were all boxing matches. I knew he was a boxer, but what I'm saying is, he had a first round knockout before the Contender Series, or second round knockout, third round knockout, first round knockout. Hits back-to-back decisions against Bandera and Sherman. Loses the decision to Rodrigo de Lima. Knocks out Lucas Brzeski. Decisions Andrei Arlovski. Decisions Roberto Despanja with a wrestling match, if you remember that. But that's the key fight right there. May 11th, 2024, a year and a half ago, where he nullified Despanja with wrestling. That shows if you know how to do an offensive wrestling, you know how to do a defensive wrestling, right? If you know how to do a defensive wrestling, and then you can beat Ryan Spann, who just proved in his last fight, against Lucas Brzeski, that he can still work on the ground and do that stuff. He couldn't do it to Costa, though. So that shows evolution. That shows how do we aim where these guys are going to be. Then he beat Sergey Spivak by decision. If we know one thing about the polar bear, he can take you down. He can keep you busy. So now he's fighting Sergey Pavlovich, a guy who, like you said, Alex, we thought he could beat Tom Aspinall. I mean, we thought he could beat, I don't know. I mean, mostly just Tom Aspinall was where I lost on him. But
Volkov?
He didn't try to wrestle once against Volkov, a guy who's been taken. He didn't try to. He beat Jairzinho Rosenstruik with the wrestling in a very boring fight. And I think they cut Rosenstruik. They probably looked at cutting him. So I don't think he's going to go out and wrestle in this fight. I think he's going to try to strike. And I think Acosta can possibly beat him up like Volkov did. I can't pick every underdog on the card, but I guess I'm going with Acosta here, even though my first look was like, oh yeah, Pavlovich for sure here. But I don't know. I mean, it's not even counting boxing matches. Acosta's had 15 fights. Pavlovich has had 21, 22. So it's not like he's had that many more fights than him, and he's got more losses, and Acosta's got the boxing. If he can keep his fight on the feet, I think he can win it easily. He can look like a huge. He can just make Pavlovich look exactly like he did in that Volkov fight, or worse, like he did in the Aspinall fight.
I'm gonna go with Sergey Pavlovich. I just think Waldo Ocasio Costa is just not polished enough. Sergey Pavlovich has more dimensions to his game, and yeah, I hear what you're saying on Sergey Spivak and what's the other guy you said? Spange.
Volkov. Oh,
Spange.
where he took him down. I mean, I'm not saying that
Yeah, but Dispenza
Dispenza
done
is as good a wrestler as Spivak, but I'm just saying that it shows an evolution in his game. Undeniably, it shows an evolution in his game.
Waldo, Ocasio, Cortez. Nah, not picking him. Not picking him. Taking Sergey Pavlovich. Just more dimensions to his game. Father's plan. I don't think he gives a fuck if he loses in a boring fashion after his last 2 losses. Yeah, I think that he's gonna get it done.
All right.
Oh, and shout out to the UFC for hooking up Volkov, who we're going to take care of him. We're going to take care of him. We're going to take care of him. No, we're going to give the guy who got a robbery decision against him the title shot. Cool. we took care of him. We gave him a fight of the night bonus. We took care of him.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. Cyril Gane is the only guy Tom hasn't fought in the top 5, so it makes sense. But other than that, it doesn't make sense.
I mean, it makes no sense in terms of fairness because you got Cyril Gane, who, first of all, fumbled the bag against Francis, then fumbled the bag against John Jones, then has been like kind of a diva, like going and doing movies, doing all this stuff in France, being a celebrity, a superstar, taking time off, not being active in the division whatsoever. Gets a win that nobody thought he won against Volkov, and then gets a title shot against the guy who he no-sold when Tom went to fucking London and was in the crowd after he beat Ngannou. He didn't fucking call Tom out. He didn't do anything to promote that fight. Now he gets the fight. I mean, he deserves nothing less than to be knocked out embarrassingly in the first round faster than John submitted him. That's all he deserves out of this experience.
But how funny would it be if Cyril Gane beats Tom
I'll
Aspinall?
be rooting for Gane. As a John Jones fan, I'll be rooting for Gane.
And MMA Guru and everybody else.
Waiting for the tweet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That night on Twitter, not only will we get a barrage of John Jones tweets, but we will also get a criminal arrest the following day.
And then we get Pereira versus Pereira versus Gane for the heavyweight championship. Pereira wins.
And then John Jones comes back. And all of you dumb motherfuckers who were sitting here, oh, duck, John Jones, duck.
He becomes a 2-time UFC heavyweight champion.
Which is tied for the most, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. So John Jones is going to come back. I mean, yeah. So I'm rooting.
But if Pereira beats
I love Tom Aspinall. That's the thing, too. I love Tom Aspinall. I think he's a funny guy. I think he's a very, very talented fighter. But all of the bitching has just made me want him to lose now because it makes John Jones look better. And, like, I hate Cyril Gane, but I think that the funniest possible outcome is having to watch the MMA Guru see Sean O'Malley get beat, Sean O'Malley get finished, DDP absolutely get dominated, and then Tom Aspinall gets knocked out by Cyril Gane.
It would be as bad as if Ilya got knocked out by Paddy, because at the end of the day, if Paddy fought Ilya next and Ilya lost to Paddy, it would mean nothing that he beat Volk, Max, or Charles. It would mean nothing.
Yeah.
But in this Game of Thrones, if Pereira can beat Ankalaev in the rematch, which, guys, he lost that fight by 1 round. It was close. Ankalaev never took him down. If he can beat him in the rematch and then go and beat Gane easily, now he's the 2-division double champ simultaneous, having been the middleweight champ with a victory over not only Adesanya, but Yuri, Jamal, and fucking Jan, which all are former champions. Then, and Strickland, who's former champion. Then he goes and beats John Jones. If, like, let's say he beats John Jones at heavyweight. Now he's the double champ at light heavyweight and heavyweight, having been the middleweight champ with 2 kickboxing wins and an MMA win against Israel Adesanya, right? And his only blemish is that loss to Adesanya because he'd have avenged the Magomed Ankalaev loss. And by this point, he's the heavyweight champ. So it's like, you don't need to. Izzy's never going up to heavyweight to fight him. So you let sleeping dogs lie.
That's what you think until the dog comes in your yard.
But then by that point, Izzy's knockout over him would be looked at like as almost like as Matt Serra's knockout over GSP. That's how much the accomplishments of Pereira would pale in comparison to that night. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I mean, that knockout already kind of does have that effect because Pereira
it shouldn't yet, but it does.
I mean, I think that way.
You last best.
I think so. Pereira knocked him out cold twice and beat him in a decision.
Cold once, still standing twice the second time, and then the decision.
Very true, but Israel Adesanya says Herzog made the right decision in that one.
No, it was Goddard.
Goddard made the right decision in that one.
Hey, watch the eyes. And Herzog, ears.
It's gentle parenting versus like older parenting, you know, like
get your fingers out the cage.
He's like 9911, and then we got Herzog, who's
Goddard is insane, dude. Like when he stopped that guy who had the glass in his foot or whatever, or the piece of cage in his foot, he's like, "It's over, it's over." Like it's nuts, dude.
I love when fighters give him toot in there because he is a no nonsense guy. Keith Peterson. Ironically enough, there's a lot of nonsense that goes on when Keith Peterson's in the cage.
Yeah, I like at least that Keith Peterson doesn't intervene.
Yes,
anything.
Oh yeah,
I'd rather a guy intervene with nothing than to anything really. You know,
Dan Miragliotta, no nonsense Keith Peterson, slippery Keith Peterson, gold standard.
Yeah. All right, so we got 2 fights left. Brian Ortega versus Aljamain Sterling. Brian Ortega, the big fat boy, coming in big and fat. He's going to be coming in off of a loss to Mr. Diego Lopez, I believe, right? Yes, Diego Lopez. And that was 11 months ago. Took the requisite time off. He has been all fucked up in the head. He's talking about churches. He's talking about birds. He's talking about all sorts of shit, phoenixes. Brian Ortega is fucked up in the head. But after what he did to Yair Rodriguez, I have a real hard time picking against him against Aljo. Now, Aljo is going to be shorter. Aljo is technically longer, but I feel a lot of Aljamain's strengths play into Brian's. Now, let's backtrack a little bit. Aljamain's not going to take Brian down and get triangled, but is he going to take him down? Or is he going to get caught boxing with him? If he gets caught boxing with him, it's going to be a bad night.
I don't think so. I think he's got way better boxing than Brian Ortega.
All right. I'm going Aljamain Sterling. Relax.
I think that Brian Ortega
is better in every area, and Brian Ortega is a fat slob who has mental fucking cuckoo shit going on. And
Luke, but you can't forget that one day he made a choice.
I'd ban vocal. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, what do you like? They shouldn't even like. Look, if a foul is committed, you stop them, you break the action, you give a warning. Okay? You don't say warnings as you're fighting. It could be a crowd, the corner, like they're not hearing you, and they shouldn't. Like they shouldn't be taking advice from the ref.
And definitely, if
who's got their fingers in the cage and hears the ref say, "Get your fingers out of the cage," he goes, "Thanks, ref." Silly me. I had no. You're fighting for your fucking life.
If a ref has to grab your hand out of the cage, that's the point.
That's a point. Like caught in the act. There you go. There's your. It's not like that hard. And guess what? If so many points get deducted, where all of a sudden Dana White's like, these fights are getting, the fighters are winning when they shouldn't because of these point deductions because of the cage. How about we just do plexiglass? They don't even want you to call it a cage formally. So why they want you to call it the octagon? So let's just make it a fucking octagon and make it a hockey see-through plexiglass so that there is no cage grabbing at all. So that there's no friction even. So that if you get pushed with your back up against the fence, You don't get to just like dig into that little space between the fence and the canvas and the fence. You don't get to just dig your foot in and put your back against that frictiony cage. You slide right down and get taken the fuck down. How about that? Oh, we wouldn't want that. Well, then let him grab the cage. The only reason they don't want him to grab the cage is because your fingers could get broken inside the cage, probably. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I'm going with Aljo. I think Brian Ortega is on the Diego Sanchez arc right now. And you guys got to remember, he went from the nightmare to the dream at one point because he found God. If you guys remember that, this is the exact Diego Sanchez arc of Mexican fighter who gets CTE and finds God and then starts to go crazy. This is how it goes. Diego Sanchez has a tattoo of every single religion on his body. Every single religion tells you not to get tattoos.
The only difference is Brian Ortega's coach is Henry Gracie, who is like a good life coach and jiu-jitsu coach. And
for now, no, he's just as bad as Fabian. What was that guy's name? No, Henry Gracie is dude.
Joshua Fabia. Listen, Joshua Fabia is in a league of his own. Diego could handle that.
The Gracies are the biggest snake oil salesman to ever live.
Oh, better stop.
I love the balls on my mouth.
You better stop with that.
I honestly don't even know who those people are.
It took John Danaher and Eddie Bravo to perfect jiu-jitsu, okay? Let's not get crazy. And
when you look into it,
and all of these moves are just Japanese jiu-jitsu moves. This is all snake oil.
No, they're not.
All
Japanese
of the moves,
is not even. No,
all of the moves were already invented. That's why.
Not true.
That's why John Danaher.
Oh, the Darce choke was. Oh, the Von Flue choke was.
No, those weren't invented by the Gracies. Those were invented by John D'Arcy. And
that's what I'm saying.
Henry Von Flue.
And Timmy Von Flue. But no, listen, I'm just saying that, like, yeah, like, obviously, like, new things were invented even after the Brazilians got their hands on it. So, yeah, like, trust me, Japanese jiu-jitsu. I met a guy, he said, I'm a black belt. I met a guy, he said he was a black belt in Japanese jiu-jitsu. You get those at the mall, 2 fucking classes a week for 2 years. You get that shit. Like, they will give you that. It's like 1 arm bar. That's it.
John Jones is a blue belt. Belts don't even matter. All you need to do is learn the moves and then practice the moves, and you don't need somebody charging you $500 a month for that.
Guys, if anybody in the comments chat has a black belt in Japanese jiu-jitsu and it took you longer than 3 years to get, let me know, okay? All right. Next, so we're both going with Aljamain Sterling. I can't be that silly. You're right. I mean, yeah.
I mean, dude, Max Holloway was giving freaking Brian Ortega boxing lessons in the cage. You're gonna tell me John, and he was giving Max Holloway was giving him tips on how to defend.
Aljamain Sterling chokes Max Holloway out easy first round.
Backpacks him, chokes him out
first, second, or third round easy.
Yeah, I could see it. Aljamain Sterling has phenomenal wrestling. I mean, you saw him against Movsar Evelev, dude. He was whooping Movsar Evelev.
All this. Aljamain Sterling beats Volk.
Aljamain Sterling would give Volk problems.
Guess what? Leon Murphy is going to head kick Volk into the fucking nether realm easily. So let me get a line on that because I'm betting it already. I'm getting it early. Leon Volk said, yep, sounds good. He's so concerned about the date of when he fights. So he's just trying to get these certain dates. That's the biggest weakness of some of these guys is their concern of when they fight and where geographically. And it's not their fault a lot of the time. But you got these guys who can only fight in Abu Dhabi. You got guys, I mean, but here's the funny thing. The UFC bends over backwards for these guys a lot of the time. But the problem is when they don't is situations like this where, all right, so Volk is kind of like in a weird spot where he's like as famous as a Dustin Poirier, as famous as an Izzy, as famous as like any of the bigger guys of Pereira, but he's in a division where no one else is. That's the problem Volk's in right now. Because whether it's Pico, Murphy, Evloev, Aljo, doesn't really fucking matter. You're not moving the needle. So for him, I think he knows that, and he's just like, cool, then let me fight where I have home field advantage, where I don't have to fucking pay other taxes, and let's do it here. Like, you know.
But, you know, the UFC probably would rather him fight there than anywhere else as well, because they're kind of
Sure.
losing those stars from that region. Like you
So
said.
much of the UFC depends upon geography and dates, and
Yes.
people don't realize that.
Yeah.
It's about geography and it's about dates and it's about territories and getting public awareness. You can chart. I mean, guys, you think it was an accident that McGregor came about when the UFC wanted to expand into Ireland? The fighter has to do their part, but there's the right fighter in any market, except apparently India and Japan and China. I mean, even China has Weili Zhang, but it's like all the countries that have never had a champion. It's like that's where we need to start looking. That's where the UFC gives a fuck about who the who are the champions, right? Like how do we market? How do we get stars out of these places, right? Mexico, always worth a look. Because the UFC, where do they build their PIs? Where do they build their performance institutes? Where do they have a vested interest in the success and investment of the nation, right?
China, Africa, Mexico.
Yep. But some are easier said than done. I mean, they got we'll get into it, but right now the main event, Johnny Walker versus Mingying Zhang. I mean, guys, look, Mingying Zhang has had 3 very impressive first round knockouts when you consider what he did and the wow factor. But when you consider the opponents, it was not anything impressive. Okay. His most impressive win might be against Tuco Tucos on the road to the UFC.
The name's so nice. They named him twice.
So I'm going to go with Johnny Walker in the main event. He's been there, done that, fought the best. His brother is on an absolute inspiring tear, 3 fucking leg locks in a row. He's been there in the corner every single time. You think he doesn't want some of that action? You think he doesn't want to get the fucking win now? You think he's not motivated? He was supposed to fight Bogdan Guskov, somebody who I consider way scarier than Mingying Zhang. Supposed to fight Azamat Mirzakhanov. Stylistically, again, somebody probably safer than Mingying Zhang for Johnny Walker, to be honest with you. But now he gets Mingying Zhang. Okay, so I think Johnny Walker is competent enough on the feet and aware enough of his deficits at this point. And if he's not, Jesus Christ, how the fuck? Who are his friends? Like, I'm not saying to take the venom out of the snake here and make Johnny Walker boring or make him not do what he does. But at the end of the day, Johnny Walker has had a longer career in the UFC. He's had 13. This will be his 14th fight in the UFC. Johnny Walker has fought the best, from the current champ Ankalaev to, the former champ Jamal Hill. He's had some embarrassing finishes, some embarrassing losses, but he's been in the UFC since the Contender Series in 2018. Made his debut 2 months later and was considered the next big thing. He's fought everybody from title challengers to champions. Mingying Zhang has only fought Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith did his signature move, which is turtle up and give up, and Mingying Zhang won the fight. We all knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, but
wait, Alex, last question. I'll throw to you. Should Mingying Zhang be the same level of favorite he is against Johnny Walker as he was against Anthony Smith? Because that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at a minus 400 Mingying Zhang. He was minus 500 against Anthony Smith, I think. We're looking at that against Johnny Walker. That's crazy. That's buy low, sell high for Johnny Walker. He's coming off back-to-back losses. So,
yeah, but people forget, man, Johnny Walker couldn't finish Anthony Smith. And Anthony Smith had a lot more in the tank 2 years ago than he did this year.
That's the learning curve of Johnny Walker, where he's learning how to not be reckless and crazy, and he's learning how to get, you know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I look at that as part of his learning curve, part of his arc. Yeah, and now he gets a guy who is doing what he was apt to do. And it's will he be able to avoid? It's very nice to meet you too, the 10-7 MMA. Great to meet you. Let's collab. Let's share audiences. I'm gonna favorite you. Let's share audiences. YouTube just emailed me that we could do that. We can leech. We'd love to leech.
You cannot underestimate how dumb most fighters are, and that's what I think that you're forgetting here, Luke. Johnny Walker is an idiot. He will get KO'd by weighing in. Okay. Yeah, no, I
Johnny
think
Walker,
I think
Johnny
Johnny
Walker. I thought that was funny.
I think Johnny Walker is going to probably get knocked out in this fight. Johnny Walker's dumb as a box of rocks. His brother's the smart one. He decided, get me out of this Brazil, poha. I'm going to Russia and shaving my beard into a Dagestani beard and learning how to do leg locks and takedowns.
He got out of Brazil and he got out of fucking Vegas and he got out of Canada and he got out of Ireland and he went back. He's getting out everywhere.
And this guy, like, he's trying all the different fruits of coaches, and he just fell in love with John Kavanagh in Ireland. Like, what is Johnny Walker doing in Ireland?
It's a hobby now.
No,
But
he's in
what's also
SPG
funny is
Ireland.
that Johnny Walker is a giant Brazilian guy with an afro speaking in Irish English.
Yeah,
He has an Irish accent. Like,
he must just be cleaning up with the fire crotches over there, like just absolutely cleaning up.
Yeah.
Excuse my language there, but
But Johnny Walker is a dum-dum. Never underestimate how stupid he is. That was a great sentiment right there. Sweet Pea Grable, I believe you're the one who said that. I'm going to go with Mingxing Yang. I think he's going to be more calculated in there. I think he's going to be a little smarter in there. I think that his intelligence level is higher. And yeah, he's younger, fresher. Hasn't had the damage that Johnny Walker has, most importantly. Johnny Walker.
You thought Jared Cannonier was going to beat Michael Van Page. I told you, I said, Michael Van Page is going to be feeling the crowd. He's going to fucking... Dude, Johnny Walker is coming in here. Rebel without a cause. Man without a home. Vagabond, Ronin, Sigma male. Paulo Costa style. And he's going to come in reinvented, much like we saw Paulo Costa reinvented, resurged. He's going to come in. He's going to knee Ming Yang Zhang right up the fucking middle in the body. Not before a couple ball kicks, not before a couple eye pokes, not before making this a nasty fight. And then Ming Yang Zhang feeling the pressure of the moment, the pressure of this being in his hometown, a card built for him with him on the main event, everybody asking him for tickets, all his family and his parents, business partners who are very sophisticated, who weren't into the UFC before but now are coming to this fight to watch him, coming into his green room, saying hi, his parents saying, this is my boss, he's watching you fight. He's going to get knocked out brutally and embarrassingly by Johnny Walker with a flying knee up the middle after body shots. He's going to get fucking destroyed, dude. I'm telling you, if no underdog that I said was going to comes through, it's Johnny Walker, dude.
Bring great shame to his family.
Little Johnny Walker walking down the street. Didn't know what to do, and he came up next to me. Little Johnny Walker walking down the street.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll be opposed on this one. Personally, I'd rather have the favorite. No, I'd rather have the favorite going into the main event anyway.
Oh, that's your takeaway?
If you can communicate this product, you can make money off the product.
I'm communicating the product, and you don't want to make money off the product.
I don't want the product. I don't want that product. I don't want to buy what you're selling. What I will sell you, though, is leaving a favorite on the end of a parlay oftentimes is the best possible decision because it gives you the easiest opportunity to hedge at the end of the night. And you said you like putting yourself in no-lose scenarios. I think Johnny Walker is a losing tradition. He is going to get comedically knocked out, just like they said. I saw a video. I have a video on my Instagram of Johnny Walker getting knocked out by Jamal Hill, spliced in with the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man voice from one Family Guy, Quahog. If you see me in Quahog, say hi. If you catch me at the Clam, I'm a talkative guy. So catch me at the Clam, please, my man.
Listen, dude, let me say this. I'm gonna wake up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm gonna walk out. I'm gonna watch this fight. And I was even thinking, I was like, should I wake up at 3 in the morning and go to Wawa, the only 24-hour place that I know, and get like a sandwich and maybe like a nice coffee and like really just like start my day and like not even because last time for UFC Macau, I got cozy on the couch and I was like a little baby on the couch and I was just watching the fights and I fell asleep for a couple and then I woke up and then and that was nice, I will say. But what wasn't nice was that I was so delusionally tired and like also in this weird like witching hour mindset where I lost a lot of money that night. And then I tried to win it all back on Davidson Figueiredo against Peter Yan. And I bet on Davidson Figueiredo and he was only in that fight for a minute. So it was terrible. And then I started my day after that. I like came out into the world. It was like, I imagine what people who go on like people describe like, you know, you're up all night partying and then you just come out into the morning. You're like, you see people going to church and school and work. And you're like, oh, fuck, I'm such a piece of shit. Like I just spent all night watching UFC Macau and just like in a card, I said like, don't bet on this card. I'm out here betting on it, you know? What I'll say is I'm just looking through the card. Let's see. So I picked Charles Johnson formally. I did do that. I'm switching that and going with Lonner Kavanaugh just to make this less fucking ridiculous because this is insane how many underdogs I have. But I really do think Lonnie Kavanaugh can get the win here. Let me see. Okay. So my card has 11 or whatever. It's like UFC has 11. We're missing one on FanDuel Sportsbook, but I'm trying to figure out which one that is. But just for reference, like if you were to take my picks, which one is it? Is this actually not a it's Daigar Nurgazai. Daigar Nurgazai. That's not listed yet as far as $10 bet on mine, which includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 underdogs. And Daigar is also would be the 7th out of 11th underdog I picked, I guess, on this card. But a $10 bet on that 11-leg parlay that doesn't even include Daigar Nurgazai, $10 bet pays $111,000. So we'll place that right now because that's my worst fear, right? My worst fear is buying a lottery ticket and winning and losing it, right? It has nothing like I'm not gonna let that.
Your name is Earl.
So my second, like my other worst fear on that would be like I come on this podcast, I say, yeah, so my picks pay this much. How crazy would that be? And then I don't bet it. And then we come back on the show on Monday and everyone goes, Luke, you did it, Luke. And I go, yeah, I did, didn't I? And I'd never placed the bet. So I just placed that bet, by the way. $10 to win $111,000. And let's be real. If they let me cash out for $35,000 going into the main event, I will.
No shit. They won't give you a cash out option for the main event. They will not.
Well, then I'll overdraft my bank account across 7 different sports books and bet a shitload of money on Ming Ying Zhang. 50,000 to win 10,000.
Fair enough. Well, you know, the worst part of the Perfect Parlay Pursuit, of course, is the end of the Perfect Parlay Pursuit. Although many people probably just skip to this to hear all the picks right in a row and not listen to any of our diatribe. And for those people, I hope you enjoyed this last minute. If you're rolling with me, you're going Ming Yang Zhang, Aljamain Sterling, Sergey Pavlovich, Kevin Borjas, Taylake Nuraji, Gage Young, Loner Kavanaugh.
I thought you were Charles Johnson.
Charles Johnson, you're right.
No, I know. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you are right. I switched. I convinced myself to Charles Johnson.
So I had Charles Johnson formally, and you had Leonard Kavanaugh, and then you switched, and then
yeah.
This is
and you switched to Leonard Kavanaugh?
I switched to Leonard Kavanaugh just so I wouldn't have 8 underdogs.
All right. Well, one of us is going to be right. That's the beauty of that. Then I got Rong Zhu, Michelle Piera, Weston Wilson. Weston Wilson is my lock of the night. Long Zhao and Yuran Sadabolayev.
Okay, so that leaves us with a good amount of Triple B certified picks, more than I thought. So Long Zhao, slight underdog, Triple B certified. Weston Wilson, plus 775 underdog is double B certified. And, Michelle Pereira, double B certified. Rong Zhu, double B certified. Gage Young, slight dog, I believe, or slight favorite, double B certified. Kevin Borjas, underdog, double B certified. And Aljamain Sterling, double B certified. I think those ones are lucid, clear, and make a lot of sense. if you're parlaying them, I'd do a separate parlay without some of the bigger underdogs probably, but maybe do a
I
solo
think
bet on.
Kevin Borjas, Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah, I mean those two right there.
Weston Wilson.
I
Weston
think
Wilson.
those. Weston Wilson, yeah.
That's your parlay. That's your ticket. That's your winning ticket right there.
I mean, I think you go like a little Yang Zhao, Michelle Pereira, boom, 2-leg parlay. You take half of those winnings, you put them on Rongzhou money line, cool. Hit or miss, no worries. If it hits, you put all that on Gage Young with the other half still separate. And then if Gage Young wins, you take it all together, boom, more than double it on Kevin Borjas. And then you're good for the night. You don't even need to worry about Aljamain Sterling. But you can go out, Kevin, you can do some other things creatively, but you want to be able to enjoy those co-main and main events. So let's just get in and out. That's my little strategy right there. I said it. I'll go do it. My picks top to bottom. But first, we have some friend of the channel, Charles Johnson, won't lose. Friend of the channel, Charles Johnson won't lose.
Beautiful.
Skullet Gang. You got to rock the skull. He's got a mullet, but it's like a shaven mullet. Pereira might be taking another money-making dive for a second yacht. Ooh, what? He's got a yacht? I didn't know that. I'm really that. But if you're rolling with me, Johnny Walker, Aljamain Sterling, Waldo Ocasio-Cortez, Kevin Borjas, Kiefer Crosby, Gage Young, Lonnie Kavanaugh, Rongzhou, Michelle Pereira, Weston Wilson, Long Zhao, and Dr. Nargazai.
Did you see?
There's a voice in my head yelling out, "Get Loner Kavanaugh out of there! Take an 8th underdog in Charles Johnson!" And I'm just like, all right, look, dude, chill. I'm not even gonna bet that fight at this point. Like,
did you see Manic Annex joke about Rongzhou?
oh, it's hilarious.
Beautiful, beautifully done.
I didn't know he was Jewish, but he says, I get pulled over and I tell the cop, "You got the wrong Jew." We've been making those jokes, Zoo wrong. No, you wrong. I have the best one with Carly Dreidel. That's the best one.
No comment.
It is PG. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Again, double P certified. Aljamain Sterling, Kevin Borjas, Gage Young, Rongzhou, Michelle Pereira, Weston Wilson, Long Zhao. Double P certified picks last week weren't so hot, but they were triple P. So we had Dan in here muddying up the fucking waters. 65% in the 11 events before Dan. So
we got to name the waters and stop muddying them.
Got to name those waters. Tigris, Euphrates, Lake Erie, Lake Huron. I got them all. Okay. All right. Mississippi. All right. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. 3:30 a.m. in the Discord. I will be there. This is a lifestyle, baby, and I live it, and I'm not deterred. I'm not the turd, and I'm not deterred.
Now that you explained it, I might have to get up for it. Might have to go get myself a little late night snack.
It's fun. How often do you get to have these things happen in your life where it's like, oh shit, like I have a free excuse to do something silly. Like I get to like I'm gonna put my kid to bed at 8:00 and I'm gonna go to bed with her. I'm gonna say it's bedtime for both of us. I'm gonna go to sleep at like early as hell. I'm gonna get in bed with my little podcast and I'm gonna just wait and I'll fall asleep and I'll wake up probably several times, but I'll just get as much sleep as I can. We're talking 5.5 hours if I sleep.
And then you're waking up at 3 a.m. And you know the good part about that is
I usually do anyway, to pee, to get snackies.
It's before your enemies. You got to wake up before your enemies wake up.
That is true too. So I'll get up at 3:30 a.m. and I'll throw the fights on and I'll stretch. I'll do some push-ups. I'll do push-ups during the fights. I'll be getting real Jocko. I'll be getting real Tim Kennedy on everybody's ass. And then, I'll just I'll watch the fights, drink some coffee, get into it, And then when my family wakes up, I'll be like, look at all the money we won. Look at Johnny Walker standing over his enemy, vanquished.
Yeah. Nah.
Or I'll be stupid exhausted by the time they all wake up and
pissed,
have
baby's crying.
Have a long day. Well, the benefit is I told my wife, I said, yo, just if the baby wakes up in the middle of the night while I'm watching the fights, I'll just take it. You can sleep the whole night through. So she's going to get like sleep because we got a 6-month-old. So it's like he's up all the time. She's going to sleep straight through the night. I'm going to give him the bottle, just watch the fights. He loves watching fights. He'll watch the fight with me. be great.
Beautiful.
Program him.
Some good father.
I'll tell him. I'll say this is a weird card. It's at 3:30 a.m. But he'll understand. He woke up for the main event in the last card, and I was like, "This is the new middleweight champion." I'm like, "This fight's kind of boring. You just missed back-to-back spinning elbow knockouts." And then they showed the highlights. I was like, "This is what I was talking about." And he was like, "Wow." Dude, we were showing those little kids how to do a spinning elbow. We should send them the tape and be like, by the way, like, not for nothing.
No,
that
we
thing
want
we
those
showed you
kids
just
to
work at the
forget me as
highest
quick as
level.
possible. We want those kids to forget me, my face, my name, anything I say.
All right. Thank you guys. It's Beef All Day on Saturday. We'll see you at 3:30 in the morning. Get a good night's sleep. Love you. And goodbye.
In this episode, dude.